Today's class is on rational numbers. Those who have not watched the video of integers, please watch that also, because in that I have explained natural numbers, whole numbers and integers. So before doing rational numbers, please watch that video also. Okay. Now we'll see what are rational numbers. Okay. Now have a look at this number line. 0 in the middle you can see, and positive numbers on the right hand side and negative numbers on the left hand side. Now the numbers I've marked are fractions. They are in the form of fractions. And here between 0 and 4 by 4, 4 by 4 is nothing but 1, and minus 4 by 4 is minus 1. So between 0 and 4 by 4, that is 1, there are fractions which are marked 1 by 4, 2 by 4, 3 by 4. But remember, there are many other fractions between 0 and 1. You can find countless number of fractions between 0 and 1. I have marked only 3 of them there. On the left side, between minus 1 and 0, again you can see 3 fractions, negative numbers, minus 3 by 4, minus 2 by 4 and minus 1 by 4. But between 0 and minus 1, infinite number of fractions you can get. Okay. Now we'll see how to define a rational number. We say a number which can be written in the form p by q, where p and q are integers and q is not equal to 0, are rational numbers. I know it will be a bit confusing for you in the beginning. So now look at the fractions here. 1 by 4, is it in the form of p by q? Yes, p and q are integers. 1 and 4 are integers. So it is in the form of p by q, and q is not equal to 0. Denominator q cannot be equal to 0. It should not be equal to 0 because division by 0 is not defined. Okay. Now we'll take some examples. You have to find out which are the rational numbers in this. Okay. First example we'll take minus 3 by 4. Is this a rational number? How do you check? You have to check whether it is in the form of p by q, or it can be written in the form of p by q, and q should not be equal to 0. Condition q should not be equal to 0. You can easily check. Denominator you have 5, it is not equal to 0, and minus 3 and 5 are integers. P and q should be integers. So here this is a rational number. Now take the next one, 7. Is this a rational number? How do you check? You have to check whether it can be written in the form of p by q. You have to check whether it can be written in the form of p by q, and q is not equal to 0. How can you write 7 in the form of p by q? You can write it as 7 by 1 without changing its value. 7 by 1 is again 7 itself. So without changing the value of 7, we can write it as 7 by 1, which is in the form of p by q. And here denominator q is not equal to 0. Therefore 7 is also a rational number. So if you can express it in the form of p by q, you can say this is a rational number. It need not be in the form of p by q in the beginning, but if you can express, that's what it means. Okay. Now take 0. Is 0 a rational number? Can you express it in the form of p by q and q not equal to 0? Yes, because 0 by any number is equal to 0. 0 by 5 is 0. 0 by 100 is 0. So you can express 0 in the form of p by q without changing its value. Therefore, that is also a rational number. Now we'll take another example. 8 by 0. Is this a rational number? No. What is the reason? Here, denominator is 0. We have learned that when it is in the form of P by Q, Q should not be equal to 0. Here, denominator Q is 0. Therefore, this is not a rational number. Is it clear? Now we see the role of 0. What happens when you add 0 to a number? Will it make any difference? Any number, when added to 0, you get the same number. Isn't it? You add 0 to 5, you get the answer 5. That means you can call 0 as the additive identity for integers. Because for any integer, when you add 0 to that integer, it does not make any change in its value. You get back the same integer. So, you can say 0 is the additive identity for integers, because on adding 0 to any integer, you get that integer itself as an answer. Okay? Same case with the rational numbers and whole numbers also. When you add 0 to a rational number, you get the same rational number as the answer. So, 0 is additive identity. Okay? Next one, here I have written a plus 0 is equal to 0 plus a. What property is that? Commutative property. And what is the value of a? When 0 is added to any number, here any number I have taken is a. A can take up any value, a rational number, a whole number or integer, you get back a itself. So you can say 0 is the additive identity. Now role of 1. What can you say about 1? When you multiply a number by 1, you get back the same number. Isn't it? Will it make any change in its value on multiplying by 1? No. So you can say 1 is the multiplicative identity for integers, whole numbers and rational numbers. Because on multiplying a rational number or an integer or a whole number by 1, you get the same number. There is no change in its value. So 1 is a multiplicative identity. Is that clear? Now we'll see the next one. A into 1 is equal to 1 into A is equal to A. A is a variable I have taken which can take up any rational numbers. Okay. So a rational number into 1 is equal to 1 into A is equal to A itself. So 1 is a multiplicative identity. Now we'll see additive inverse. What is additive inverse? When you add a number to another number, if you get 0, you say the first one is the additive inverse of the other one. Here a plus minus a. What is the answer? On adding a to minus a, what do you get? You get the answer 0. A plus minus a same as minus a plus a, both are equal to 0. So you can say a is the additive inverse of minus a and minus a is the additive inverse of a. Is it clear? Now we'll take another example, 6 plus minus 6. That can be written as minus 6 plus 6 also. 6 is the additive inverse of minus 6 and minus 6 is the additive inverse of 6. And the answer on adding them will give you 0. Is that clear? So when you add two numbers to give 0, then you can say one of those numbers is the additive inverse of the other one. Is it clear? Now look at this. I have taken a by b, which is in the form of p by q, a rational number you can say. What is the additive inverse of a by b? It is minus a by b. And you can say minus a by b is additive inverse of a by b and a by b is additive inverse of minus a by b. On adding them, you get 0. So on adding, if you get the value to be 0, 1 is the additive inverse of the other. Now we'll see multiplicative inverse or reciprocal. Both are same. Multiplicative inverse is same as a reciprocal. We'll see what it is. Here I have taken the example 6 by 11 and 11 by 6. You can say 6 by 11 is a multiplicative inverse of 11 by 6, or 11 by 6 is a multiplicative inverse of 6 by 11. Similarly, you can say 11 by 6 is a reciprocal of 6 by 11. Because on multiplying these two, you get the answer 1. So, when do you say one is a multiplicative inverse of the other or reciprocal of the other? On multiplying those two, if you get the answer 1, then you can say one number is a multiplicative inverse of the other or reciprocal of the other. Is it clear? So 6 by 11 is the reciprocal of 11 by 6 and 11 by 6 is the reciprocal of 6 by 11. Clear? Now take 0. Has 0 got any reciprocal? If you want to get a reciprocal for 0, you know you will have to write it as 1 by 0. Is there any number like that? On multiplying 0 by any number, you are going to get the answer 0 and not equal to 1. Only if you get the answer as 1, you can say 1 is a reciprocal of the other. So, you can say 0 has no reciprocal. Is that clear? Because 0 into any number is equal to 0 only and not equal to 1. And look at this now. If A by B into C by D is equal to 1, I have taken two rational number forms, A by B and C by D. They are in the form of rational numbers. On multiplying these two rational numbers, if you get the answer to be 1, then you say C by D is the reciprocal or multiplicative inverse of A by B. Or you can say A by B is the reciprocal of C by D. Is that clear? Now we'll check whether given two numbers are multiplicative inverse of the other. Here I have taken 0.7 and 1 and 3 by 7. Is 0.7 multiplicative inverse of 1 and 3 by 7? How do you check? You have to multiply those two and see whether the answer is 1. So, how do you do it? 0.7 can be written as 7 by 10. So, 0.7 is a rational number because 0.7 can be written in the form of P by Q, in the fraction form. See, 0.7 is written in the form of P by Q. Therefore, you can say 0.7 is a rational number and I have expressed that in the rational form P by Q. So, it is 7 by 10 without changing its value. 7 by 10 is equal to 0.7, wasn't it? So, what about 1 and 3 by 7? That also you can write it as 10 by 7 when converting that into improper fraction, wasn't it? 1 and 3 by 7 is a mixed fraction which is converted into improper fraction. Now you have to check whether one is multiplicative inverse of the other. So what do? Multiply that. So 7 by 10 into 10 by 7. What do you get? 10 and 10 will get cancelled. 7 and 7 will get cancelled. You will get the answer to be 1. Therefore, the answer is yes. Is that clear? Now, representation on a number line. You are going to see how you can represent rational numbers on a number line. Okay? Here, we have taken minus 7 by 5, minus 4 by 5, minus 1 by 5 and 0. What you are going to do is first check whether the denominators are same. If all the denominators are same, then you can represent them on a number line. First draw the number line. Then you have 0 and negative rational numbers. Okay? So 0 will come on the right hand because you don't have any positive numbers there. So you put 0 on the right hand. Now you are going to start putting these fractions on the number line. See how you can do it. It's very easy. Just start the line that comes just on the left side of 0. You can put as minus 1 by 5. Next one will be minus 2 by 5. Next one will be minus 3 by 5. Next minus 4 by 5. And then comes minus 5 by 5. What is minus 5 by 5? It is equal to minus 1. So actually you are dividing minus 1 and 0 into 5 equal parts. You are getting it automatically that 5 parts when you put it like this. So it's better you mark equal parts on the number line and then start putting the fractions from the right hand if it is a negative one. Okay? And now after minus 5 by 5 what comes? It is minus 6 by 5, minus 7 by 5, minus 8 by 5. It goes like that. But you don't need numbers after that because you need only up to minus 7 by 5 in the question. Okay. Now you see, we will mark the numbers given in the question on the number line. So minus 7 by 5 is the first one. You mark that on the number line. Then what is the next one? Minus 4 by 5. Take minus 4 by 5. Where is it? Yes, it's there. Again, mark on the top. Darken the dot. You can darken the dot with a pencil when you do it. And what is the next one? Minus 1 by 5. Where is it? There also you have marked. And then comes 0. So you have marked all those numbers on this number line. Is it clear how to do it? Now we will see how you can find rational numbers between two given rational numbers. Here the question is to find 3 rational numbers between 3 by 2 and 1 by 5. Look at the equation carefully. You are asked to find out 3 rational numbers between 3 by 2 and 1 by 5. The given rational numbers are having different denominators. So our first step is to convert them into rational numbers having same denominators. For that you have to take the LCM of the denominators 2 and 5. LCM is 10. So convert 3 by 2 to a rational number with denominator 10. How do you do it? 3 by 2 is equal to, in the denominator you see, with what number you have to multiply 2 to get 10? 5. So numerator also should be multiplied by 5 so that its value will not be changed. With the same number 5 you are multiplying numerator and denominator. So you are getting 15 by 10. Okay. And now what is the next number in the equation? It is 1 by 5. That also you have to convert into a rational number with denominator 10. LCM of 2 and 5 is 10. Isn't it? So 5 into 2 is 10. So numerator and denominator you have to multiply by 2. You will get 2 by 10. Is that clear? After getting these numbers, 15 by 10 and 2 by 10 is very easy. You know you can find many numbers between 15 and 2. Not just 3. Isn't it? From 2 by 10, if you start writing 3 by 10, 4 by 10, it goes up to 15 by 10. So you can find many numbers between 2 by 10 and 15 by 10. Is it clear? Now using appropriate properties, find the value of a given numerical expression. That is another type of question you go to do in your class. Now look at this question carefully. How you can find the value of this numerical expression using the properties you have learned. For that, first look at the question very carefully. First, see how many terms are there. First, you have to check the terms. Which are the terms here? Minus 1 by 2 into 2 by 3 is one term. Then 5 by 6 is another term. 1 by 2 into 1 by 6 is another term. You know the terms are separated using plus or minus that you have learned in polynomials, isn't it? So here you will find three terms. After looking at those three terms, you have to find if there is any common factor. Here you will see that in the first term and the last term, you have 1 by 2 as a fraction. So you can take 1 by 2 as a common factor. But you see there is a minus sign for minus 1 by 2 for the first term, isn't it? So for the last term also you can take minus out. Okay, for that you have to make rearrangement. So first step is to rearrange it using commutative property. Okay, so you can look at those two. You need minus 1 by 2 to take it as common factor. So you bring them together and 5 by 6 you can push to the right end. Okay, now see, minus 1 by 2 I put in the bracket so that you can easily make out. Minus 1 by 2 into 2 by 3 plus minus 1 by 2 into 1 by 6. See, that minus is also taken along with that 1 by 2 and put plus in the front. On multiplying you get back the same term. Okay, and now after writing this, remember minus 1 by 2 is a common factor. This is written by commutative. Don't forget to write the property there. You have rearranged it, isn't it? Second term is brought to the last. So rearrangement and the terms is done by using commutative property. Okay. Now take minus 1 by 2, the common factor out. So for the first term what is left? 2 by 3. So in the bracket you put 2 by 3 plus in the next term what is left? 1 by 6. Now you close the bracket and write 5 by 6 as it is. Okay. Now what property is used here? It is distributivity. Okay, you write there. You are using distributive property, so you have to write there. Then only you will get marks for the exam. Okay. Now you have to again compute the value of this. For that, see, minus 1 by 2 you are going to write as it is and bracket. Inside the bracket you have 2 by 3 plus 1 by 6 to add up. You are taking the LCM. 6 is the LCM. So you will get 3 will go 2 times in 6. 2 into 2 is 4 plus 6 will go 1 time in 6 and 1 into 1 is 1. Bracket closed and then plus 5 by 6. Now that is equal to minus 1 by 2 into 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 by 6 plus 5 by 6. Now you multiply these two. You will get minus 1 into 5 minus 5 by 6 into 2 12 plus 5 by 6, which is equal to, taking LCM, 12 is LCM. So minus 5 plus 6 will go 2 times in 12. 2 into 5 10. So minus 5 plus 10 is 5. 5 by 12 you get. Okay.